For more details from the Egyptian-European Union Investment Conference, Nile TV International held the following interview with Dr. Mahmoud Mohie, the Special Envoy for the UN Secretary General for the Sustainable Finance. We will be having more details in the upcoming interview. On the sidelines of the Egypt-European Conference for today, for the investments, I'm honored to be having with me for today Dr. Mahmoud Mohie, the Special Envoy for the UN Secretary General for Sustainable Finance. Thank you very much for being with us today.
Thank you so much. Great pleasure.
Anytime. The pleasure is all mine. First of all, how do you see the importance of elevating the bilateral levels between Egypt and the European Union, which today is being implemented as the first step into translating this elevation on the ground?
Right. Very happy to have this opportunity to address your viewers and audience through you. And I think that this meeting, after a few months of the agreement on enhancing the relationship between Egypt and the EU, is very timely. As you know, we are suffering globally from lack of trust. So I've seen many announcements in the past that didn't really materialize. So to see something that is being just announced 100 days ago and started to have some good measures of operationalization, it's bringing more confidence in international relations. The different areas of work as well are very important, not just the financial assistance part, but this country can do great by getting more opportunities for investment and for export orientation led by the private sector. In addition to that, which was very much an area of emphasis, is in all sectors of priorities, from energy to food system to water management to issues related to digital transformation and technology, the areas related to skilling up the labor force, more training opportunities, investment in human capital had been very much emphasized. So I think it's not just important in terms of the timing, it's important as well given the different areas of engagements and partnership. And it was a good reminder that despite the many challenges in the global system, including in trade, investment flows, but the EU still a very significant trade partner with Egypt, and it was good as well to know that a significant part of FDI still originates from the EU. What we need is more of that, not less of that in the future.
Yes, Doctor, the conference for today was inaugurated by President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi and the President of the European Commission, Ursula von der Leyen, with a specific focus on the private sector, as you mentioned. What does this say about the past decade, the past 10 or 11 years under the tenure of President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi in terms of implementing economic reform measures for the advantage of the private sector in specific?
Of relevance to discussion today, I think areas related to investments in the stability of the country at large have been very much reflected in the talks and is being taken as a kind of a background for the engagement. But as you know, areas related to growth, investment and exports are very much forward-looking in their nature. And I would say that the opportunities outlined, especially in areas related to the green economy, would benefit from the investments happen in the infrastructure. Matters related to exports to the EU can benefit from the investment that the country had in the logistics. But I think what we need to have is basically the kind of partnerships that could enhance the role of the private sector. These kinds of relations would require the dynamism, agility, and the competitiveness of the private sector, not just the large ones, but the medium size and the small as well. The other thing I like to mention, which was not reflected perhaps in my talk tomorrow, will be dwelling into this area, that while we are celebrating great opportunities and positive lines of cooperation, there are two areas that could really benefit from this nice spirit of cooperation reflected in the two speeches that inaugurated the discussions. One is related to debt, and still some of the major economies of the EU are creditors to the Egyptian economy. I would say it would be a good moment to enhance the swaps of these debts into investment opportunities, including the climate and nature debt swap. That would be of great opportunity for the EU to exchange some of these debts into longer-term investment relations, and for Egypt to lower its debt obligation. The other thing is basically about the spillovers of some of the recent economic measures related to climate and green transformation. One of them is what's called the CBAM, or the cross-border adjustment mechanisms, that in the short term and mid-term would have negative implications. And here we are not after exceptions or exemptions, but good coordination and better alignment with the policies adopted in Egypt for the green transformation, and to minimize any burden of such measures and policies adopted in the EU in the short and mid-term. Yes, we know that they granted their partners, including Egypt, until 2026 for full implementation, but we need to take this time from now to push the agenda of how to restructure these hard-to-abate sectors like cement, fertilizers, steel, to make them green with good collaboration and good investments from the EU.
Yes, Dr. Mahmoud Mohie, the Special Envoy for the UN's Secretary General for the Sustainable Finance. Thank you very much for being with us today on Nile TV International.
Thank you so much. Great opportunity. Thank you.
Egypt Air Forces